And we are live once again. And I have brought along a friend.
What's up?
Symphonic Flow Symphony, aka Ricky Scott. How you doing?
What's up, trios? We are groovy. Happy holidays.
That's right. It is the holidays. I have a tree. I have a tree set up a little bit. It's a little bit of a mess. Wait, hold on. Let me see if you can see it, right? Can't you? Let me see. I'm trying to find my camera. Oh, already. Hey, okay. Well, I'm here anyway. But yeah. So I have a tree. I have a little mini tree set up right back here. It's kind of sad in the studio. But well, thank you so much for doing this, man. I really appreciate you coming on and allowing me to chat with you. I'm always really excited to have you come and join me for anything that I do that's live. So this is a real honor. Everybody, this is Symphonic Flow.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? And it is more than an honor and a privilege to be with y'all tonight, and especially my brother Kyle. Thank you so much for having me. It's just like, yeah, nice
man. Time. We have been, we've just spent, I guess, the last hour chatting, kind of warming up, loosening up, kind of getting in the vibe. We already hit. That was the weird thing. Exactly. That was the weird thing though. We already hit a lot of really good topics, and as we did, I was like, we're gonna come back to this. So
loosening up. If you got something, get you something.
Yeah, actually, and I have brought along. I brought along. You know what? I'm trying to think. All I have here is water. I got. Wait.
Oh, well, blessed be the water drinker.
I mean, because this one isn't gonna be. That's not even gonna be real.
Complex creature, so I got a little water here too. You know what I'm saying?
Well, cheers to everybody watching. I hope you all are doing well. This is Untitled. This is where we just sit and chat. It's a kind of a little bit of a writer's show. We've had so far. This is our fifth episode. We've had script writer, comedy writer, songwriters. We got a poet here. So anyway, basically we just chat about life, and everything in between life and poetry, in between life and writing. And so thank you guys for joining us. And this is my dear friend. So. Like I say, okay, back to, because I kind of wanted to continue. You and I had some really good, we were talking religion for a second. We were talking kind of our background. We both, well, here, let's go ahead and say this. You and I share something that I love about us is we both come from a church background. So our very first stage, the very first step for us onto stages was at church. And I think that's really fascinating. There are in the entertainment field, there are a lot of us, and so whenever we kind of when we see each other, we're always like, we have a connection. There's something there. It's
yeah. Church. Well, I mean, church is the vein of a lot of different cultures and communities. So I think that spiritually, as an artist, in any sense, any facet, any medium. As an artist, you kind of have to tune in with the higher self. But when you start talking religion, to me, it kind of restricts you, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't exist as you're not supposed to, and then it won't be allowed. So yeah, it's I think that spirituality and religion are some things that a lot of artists probably check in from in order to be more of themselves.
Yeah.
And then let that art become the God, and then you follow through with it.
It's fascinating. It's really interesting, and it's true. I have run into a lot of artists who come from either some artists that I know come from really strict, hardcore religious, whether it be some sort of like they had to wear only like girls who had to only wear like certain kinds of jean skirts or grow their hair long or. No prophylactic of any kind, those kind of things. You know what I mean? Like I'm it's scary. But so whenever you come out of that and then you're an artist, it can be the world can really be an incredible. That's one of the reasons why I gravitate to people who have come out of the church and into the arts, because it can be a little bit scary whenever when you don't know your way around. I mean, I'm a gay guy who, like I had no choice. It wasn't really really much of a choice for me to start working in music industry outside of church. But whenever I did, I ended up finding that the world wasn't near as scary as I had made it out to be in my head all those years. And you
It,
learn a lot. I mean, you learn a lot growing up. Like I say, I've always said this. One of the biggest things is from the time I was a kid, I was on stage or I was in charge of like groups of kids that were my age. It's really weird, but it's a good way to. I think in a way, it's a good way. It's a good way to grow up because it teaches you a lot of like important skills.
self-discipline, yeah, a little self-discipline,
It
or at
also
least,
leaves you. It also leaves you with a lot of things you didn't
well,
want. But
yeah, it's some weird. I say it's some weird compass that's gonna take you
mhm,
somewhere that you're probably not supposed to end up at.
yeah, yeah,
You got to there and go somewhere else and find out where you're supposed to be. So it's like one
yeah,
of them. It's a broken compass that somehow works a little bit. So
yeah,
you know, as long as there's love, as long as there's God, as long as there's peace, as long as there's understanding,
yeah.
I it's especially consideration. I think that, people can get along with people if those things manifest and are allowed to manifest and then grow.
Could you
I just
imagine? Could you imagine if just consideration were a religion?
that wouldn't that be dope?
Wouldn't that just change the world?
Wouldn't that be like dope? That would be like the dopest, like,
Let's do it. Let's start a religion right now. The religion of consideration. Let's all be
hey,
a little more.
look, I'm front pew. I'm front
That's
pew show.
right. Welcome to Untitled, everybody. If you're just joining us, we are forming our own religion. I'm sure Facebook will find a way to kick us off for that. Let's not
Look,
do that.
I don't want people to think we're starting a cult
Yeah,
or
yeah,
nothing.
exactly. That's what. So anyway, so how have you been? I know that we had you on with trios. This is Untitled, so we get to chat a lot longer, which is great. But how have you been? Other than the cult.
Well, I've been groovy. You know what I'm saying? It's life. Life is a ride, and I sometimes it claps and sometimes it flops. So, but it's just been life. I've been having some experiences, and not all of them have been wonderful.
Wait, can you just said sometimes it claps and sometimes it flops, honey? Can I get
Gotta
that tattoo?
yeah. Sometimes it claps and
Mhm.
sometimes it flops.
Mhm. Mhm.
But no, it's,
Oh,
it's just life is what it is, and you can either take the punches and roll with it.
yeah.
I'm not trying to paint a pretty picture for anybody, but
Yeah,
I do.
this year has been one of those years, man. We especially like I think one of my things was I came back to Atlanta. I moved to Miami for a few years. Came back to Atlanta, full steam ahead, like ready to start these shows. And COVID. So there was no starting anything except for this. We got online. We immediately once we were like, okay, if this is gonna go any longer, the summer had already ended. We started
Right.
this thing in August. We started trios in August, and it was just like we needed something. It was just been a crazy year.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not a gripe or a complaint, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
It's
We've
I
had
Yeah.
crazy here. That it topples on top of what I already had going on, which brings more concern and i.e. consideration, about self and self-awareness and being aware that there's actually, whether people believe it or not, there's something out in our world that's taking people from us. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Mhm.
Be it good, bad, or indifferent, or whatever somebody's thinking.
Mhm.
The realization is something's happening, and you know, it's just that kind of year. Something's happening.
Yeah, it's the happening. That's what's happening. I,
Right.
I feel like, and I just feel like I have taken this time, because there was a lot of obviously we were locked down. We've been locked down, so I've used this time to just educate myself. No, there was no gym, so you couldn't exactly like go out and like better your body with this time you had when you had to be locked down. But man, but the thing was, I felt like, if I could learn, If I
Right.
could just take whatever this moment is in time, it's telling me to sit down, not move, don't go anywhere, don't leave your front door. Like, okay, well, I have a lot of books that I've been meaning to read. That kind of thing kind of started creeping into my mind.
Right.
And so that really was, well, that was one of the reasons I had to start something like this, was because I needed that connection with my friends, and we couldn't get together at any venues, and we couldn't gather at our shows, and so this was all created just so that we could have a way to talk and hang out,
Yeah.
and that's the
Needed.
but that's kind of the thing. What I'm trying to say is that this year, while there's terrible things that have happened, and trust me, it's not none of this year has been a good thing. I just feel like there are things that we can pull from what our experiences this year and be like, I've learned. I'm still here. I've learned.
You
That's
survived. You
Yeah.
survived.
That's kind of like, I mean, that's just. I think that's a good standard for life. Just kind of that keeps you. That'll keep you positive. That'll keep you happy. That'll keep, well, not happy necessarily, but that'll keep you on the brighter side of thought.
Well, sane at minimum.
Yeah. So you are something that I would never claim, and that is, you are a poet. I could never claim poetry because there is something about poetry that is nothing like songwriting. Um it's not at all songwriting. It's not structure. You can structure a poem like a song. That's why people can turn a poem into a song sometimes. Um
Hmm.
but there's something very special about a poetry, the timing, it's very poetry, and kind of like the early hip hop. I feel like have a lot because of the timing and the rhythm and the iambic pentameter, and you know what I mean.
Right. Right.
And so I that's one of the things to me that I've always loved poetry, because I can't do it. It's like I've always loved paintings because I can't paint. And I've
Right.
tried, but every
Right.
time I try to write poetry, like specifically a poem, it always comes. It's very roses are red. It's very. It's just it doesn't feel right, and I'm sure that's one of those things you got to work out. But so how is that? I say all that to say a very long-winded way to say how. What is poetry writing to you?
Um, it's a letting go of self. It's actually a really honest moment for a lot of poets I know. It's definitely an honest moment where you can be honest with yourself and feel as though you can speak your heart, your soul, and it's like the unity, your heart, your soul, and your mind and your experience kind of binds together, and you're able to express it, in such a way that's poetic for some. I just think that even what you already do, music is poetry. It's hey, it's a
Yeah,
thing that
yeah. Yeah,
sell
you're right.
by.
You're right. And I know, and that there is a there I think there's an argument in that too. That people have actually debated the difference in like song and poetry. I think that you're absolutely right. I just feel like well, when there's a feeling when I listen to you. I see Truth here says let Symphony do his thing, and I exactly right. Like there's a feeling when you step up and when you perform, um, and you speak. It's the way you speak, and it's not even like it's not necessarily rhythm. It's not. It is the breaks. It's the beats. It's the breaths. It's the moments. It's the hush. It's the way the dialect. The way you kind of will take a moment on a word. And I think that's spoken word. The thing about spoken word, I think that is so important to me is it touches me in a way. I think it's just like kind of like church. Whenever you have someone standing up giving that spoken word, you can just sit there and completely feel like you're getting
Right.
something out of that. And it doesn't matter what they're saying. They could be talking about being a mechanic, and you know what I mean.
Talk about cheddar cheese. Talk about anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I mean, poetry for me is I don't know, it's a blessing. It's definitely words that if people personally know me, they know I'm kind of crazy, I'm wild, I like to have fun or whatever. But when it comes down to my spoken word parts, that's more of my spiritual side. I'm kind of connected more spiritually. So for me, it's very freeing to do poetry or spoken word. I actually, funny thing is, I grew up singing, but it wasn't until I was in my late 20s or my early 30s that I connected with poetry. And poetry was like, oh, this is a way for you to be like really free and for you to actually say what you want to
Yeah.
say it how you have to say it. Because I learned young that words are important. You know what I'm saying? Words are powerful.
Yeah.
And how those words are dictated to someone could actually change their life or manifest something wonderful in their lives. And I think poets are magicians and warlocks and people who weave spells. And I always wanted to be preachers. They tell you
Yeah.
something and you
Oh,
feel it.
absolutely. Yeah.
I've always desired to be able to speak to people and people not see me, but see and hear what I'm talking about and feel that and grow from it. Because at that point, I'm no longer available. Ricky's no longer available when I do spoken word or poetry when I'm up there giving that. That's my sermon. That's my
Well, and
ministry.
that's it exactly. That's what I'm saying is especially because I'm real quick to kind of the second I feel that I'm real quick to call it out, and it's one of those moments whenever you're sitting there and you hear someone like you who's a dear friend of mine and you get up and you speak and just like I say and sometimes like Zealot, it's one of my favorites. I I would love if you wanted to do Zealot. I would love for you to do. I see we have Truth here, and I would love for Truth to be able to hear you do Zealot. And I would love to hear Zealot as well. But no, like she said, no pressure. Um, but if you wanted to, yeah. So that's one of my favorites, and it's one of my favorites just because that's another point. Is you can stop. You take those breaths, you take those beats, and you do it so poetically. As you can tell when I talk, I trip over my words just speaking. So you know what I mean? Like I'm not one of those people. I just can't be a poet. I can sit with a song and kind of sit and think on it for a while and write it out slowly. And I understand that poems are the exact same way.
They
I
are.
yeah, I
They're
know.
birthed, they're birthed the same way. So it's
Yeah, I think it's a confidence thing maybe with me more than anything. I think it may be like a thing where I just need to be more confident in it. Because that's what this is all about for me. I'm trying to take notes from all of my friends who are writers. I'm just trying to take all the notes I can.
yeah.
um, but yeah, did you want to do Zealot for us?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's have a go at
All
it.
right, I'm gonna give you the screen so you can take it away for us. Thank you so much.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. What's up, folks? Happy holidays and all that good jazz. Um, this piece is Zealot, right? I wrote this piece a couple of years back, and it just kind of endorsed and kind of solidified some things that were happening to me currently and made me a believer that words, like I say, are important and powerful. And it could be a catalyst to greater things if you use it in that way. But I wrote this piece called Zealot, and it talks about how in your life you're actually given things, right? And when you're given certain things, there's this weird thing called humility. It kind of steps in the way in a way and doesn't allow you to kind of go for it because you're too busy thinking about what somebody's going to say, how somebody's going to think, what somebody might do. But my thing is like, I was given some things in my life, right? And I had to learn to live with those things, i.e., with Kyle saying, it's a bold thing to call yourself a poet. It's a bold thing to call yourself anything. And when I decided to take on that as a mantle, it turned into a situation for me that put me in a seat of responsibility to like you and you and you and truth and anybody that sees this video. So it's like, here's the thing. This is how you work this. This is a piece called Zealot. I embrace and release the cause without a pause because I know the good shall be returned. Driven to excitement, nervousness is a cool breeze that tickles my anticipation of bluer skies forthcoming in my next arrival to my next actuality. But like fresh blades of grass wet with morning silver dew, push through earth. My seeds are sown, and I reach up for my blessings as if they were the red hot sun bathing me, baptizing me, saving me from my soul's starvation, because the earth that I am made of has no mercies. My dew is evaporated and given back to the creator when I can't keep still, because there are elements wanting to dance a colorful rainbow dance of seduction, because after my rains, I am best and fully dressed in the likeness and divinity of my creator. And though my circumstances may stand tall and bold, not retreating, not withholding, not reconsidering its function, which has always been inscripted on the walls in the realm of my destiny, I find myself nestled in the bosom of expectancy. I hunger, become ravenous as the dog gone mad, in search, in spite of, in love of, just love. But I, the zealot, can no longer contain my emancipation of earth, as I exile host from which my embitterment rushes out of like waves pounding upon the shores of my heart's bloody ocean. But I embrace and release the cause without a pause, because I know that good shall be returned. Why? Because I've seen the mushrooms and daisies as I'm pushed from earth, my roots left behind me to nourish me, the stratosphere above me to branch out and conquer, wings spread wide to heaven as earth bows before me in exaltation, because I am its inhabitant and I'm functioning as a seedling should. I am its inhabitant, and I'm functioning as a seedling should. I am its inhabitant, and I'm functioning as a seedling should. Forgiveness. I am its inhabitant, and I am functioning as a seedling should. Helping. I am its inhabitant, and I am functioning as a seedling should, being the best me that I can be. You, 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 and whomever else sees this are its inhabitant, and you should function as a seedling should. And that's peace, y'all. That's a zealot. Be that for yourself, not for me.
Man, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Again, that's one of my favorite pieces. That is one of those. When I think the first time I heard it, it was just it washes over you. You know, just those words. They're really good. And every time I hear it, I just take something new. The that specific time, it was the my heart's bloody ocean.
Yeah.
Oof.
It goes back to what you were talking about growing up in the church, and you sometimes remain in a space where you don't feel appreciated.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And then in that case, you got to be able to take yourself out of that and be like the zealot for the greater good of it. I'll remain
Mm-hmm.
just so next won't have to feel this way. I'll remain because
Yeah.
it's ordained that you remain, because you ended up there, right?
Right.
You embraced and released the cause
Right.
out of pause, because
Because yeah.
it's regardless. Your circumstance is going to stand tall and bold, and it's not going to run from you. It's not going to withhold anything from you. So you have to stand up to that and own up to that. And my ministry, my personal ministry that falls under the envelope and the umbrella of poetry, is that regardless of whatever I'm going through, regardless of what whomever is going through, you still got to face it. It's
Yeah.
there. Like we have a particular person who's in office somewhere running the country who doesn't want to face something, but you got to face that.
Yup.
January 20th. Yeah, my room, bitch.
Yeah, and that's it. I feel like when it comes to embrace you, facing it head on is number one in my book. I had this metaphor about a mountain. You can either go up the mountain or you can just keep going around and around and around. And I
Right.
feel like there are times where if you don't face your issues, you tend to you end up going around. You're not like making that next step up.
Yeah.
And so that's
And
one of I'm completely that way. That's the way I feel about a lot of things. Facing it, just kind of like facing it, or because otherwise it becomes too big. Too
right. Yeah. And it swallows you. And then there's regret, of stuff that you didn't do. And then it kind of washes off on the other people around you. And then it's just not really a time for that right now. Like
yeah,
there shouldn't be a time for that. And when it does arrive, be prepared to get it out of the way
yeah.
as opposed to wallow in it. I don't feel like I've ever been privy to wallow in something that may be going wrong or not going my way or
Because
going,
then you're just what are you doing? Then you're just being a baby. When you just
yeah,
wallow, what are you gonna do?
yeah. This is my I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, that's right.
And I've faced some things that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, but I
Yeah,
also would not change the fact that I had to go through it because it's mine. And at this point, I'm right here talking to y'all. It did not defeat.
yeah, yeah.
That's what I always try to project on people. Don't let you defeat you. You know what I'm saying? You defeat it. And if you can't defeat it, drag it, run it over, knock it down, push it out the way, whatever it is. But
I
that's
love you
just
so much, Sim. Hey, I know that this is a little bit quick compared to what we wanted to do, but this is just it goes hand in hand. You were about to touch on a subject that kind of goes right with your the focused experience kind of touches on, and I'd like to ask you some questions after the focused experience. Do you mind if we watch that real quick?
please feel free. And by
Okay.
the way, good luck with y'all. I kind of miss y'all and stuff. And yeah, you know,
Let's see. Wait, we have people. We have people here for. Oh, hey, I see. Truth is here. I see. Oh, okay. I see Truth. Donald. Hey, Deej. All right. So listen, y'all are. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, we're just sitting here chatting. That's our. This is kind of what we're doing. I wanted to. We have a video that he is in, and he sings in it a little bit. And this is an original, right? Autumn Flower Girl, right?
yes.
And you do it, and it also it's interesting. Well, first off, before I show it, who did this? Because this is it's uniquely done. It's not just like a performance.
Right.
It's a performance that you do, but it's also, hey Roberta, oh my god, I have not seen you in so long. I'm just that is I just saw her name. I have the comments pulled up. I didn't have them pulled up a minute ago, and now they're sitting right here. And I'm, hey guys, this is it's so sweet of you guys to be here. So yeah, I wanted to play this piece of symphonies real quick, symphonic flow. I wanted to show you guys kind of what he does, and then there's a little bit in there where it's a little documentary-ish.
Yeah.
You just kind of you speak a little bit about your situation, and then we're gonna come back and I want to talk about it. I want to discuss a little bit about what it talks about. So, everybody, this is Symphonic Flow. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And this is a video of his. It's the focused experience. Where is this at? It's on YouTube, right?
Yes.
Okay.
YouTube.
All right. So here it is, everyone.
Symphony to the stage. Symphony. Symphony. Yes. Welcome. Hey. All right, Symphony.
Okay, check this out. I wrote this song called Autumn Flower Girl. Everybody say that with me. Autumn Flower Girl. Yeah. It's about me being able to find myself, being able to fall in love again. It was in a season that was getting chilly. You know, summer was over. Fun was about gone. And something sprung in my head that led me to believe that I could fall in love. And at that moment, I realized it was my first fall in autumn. And it was all because I felt like autumn leaves falling from trees, orange, brown, and still some green. we got lifted on each other's subliminal cloud, I heard whispers of your voice and mine that echoed in our universe, and I couldn't tell which was me. Where water begins, so does our eternity, because for us it seemed as if we were always there. No me, no you, just us. Harmonious in the chorus of life where strings orchestrate a symphony of everything. So alluring when you need, there it is. Hey, groove, R&B with me. Hey, I'll take this off. This is uncomfortable, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna be nasty tonight. My bar ain't short. But yo, check me out. Hey, Sam, so magnificent, and I can't get enough of you. So alluring when you're in full bloom, you pedal soft with what more to do. Came through my life, sleepless nights, something's wrong with the love that I got from you. I gotta let you go, baby girl, the love making game's through. You're mine, you're mine, you're mine. You are, you are, you are, you are. There's nothing in the world that I won't do when we go through. I love you, see. Life's so sweet and complete when I had you next to me. Hey, and there's tearing me apart inside because I know you gotta leave. Hey, held you close, you're the most in the world, and I don't wanna let you go. See, the seasons change, now it's cold inside. It's your heart, I no longer hold. You're mine.
What's your name, brother?
I'm Symphony.
Symphony?
Like an orchestra.
So, I love that, man.
I'm a spoken word artist. I sing, I do R&B, soul. I'm focused and a part of the Focus experience because life threw me a curveball. I had 2 strokes and 2 cardiac arrest events last year, which through the grace of God and staying focused, I'm still here doing my craft because it's all I have, it's who I am.
We feed for more of each other's energy, release and be free from worry. How sweet that be in the misty of my morning, the dusty of my dawn, exhausted, not yawning because your passions were so on. You are, you are, you are, you are, you are. You're everything I want and need in my world. You're my I love you. Oh, flower girl, 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 girl. Oh, flower girl, 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 girl. Oh, flower girl, yeah. There's nothing in the world that I won't do when we go through. I love you, you seem so magnificent. Y'all, Apache.
Okay, so tell me. First off, that was amazing. Let me see. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I think am I muted? Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay, good. So tell me a little bit about that. That was at Apache, right? That's at Apache Cafe here in Atlanta.
Yeah. Well, former location.
Right. So and that was done. I didn't catch the date, but was that like 17? Is that right? Something like that.
That was 2017. Yeah, that was after my situation.
How was so that's the thing I wanted to get at, because when you watch that, I was watching it. And then suddenly the documentary portion hits, and you start talking about 2 strokes, right, and 2 heart attacks. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, I heard that
Yeah.
right. I'm sorry, but that's you're sitting right here with me, on camera, and I'm so honored to have you here. So tell me that it was a stroke that happened first, right?
Right. I had like a mini stroke that kind of took part of my vision. I didn't know it was a stroke that had happened, but yeah, the stroke happened, and then there was a cardiac arrest event that I had, and then I kind of did from there. It was just a whole month that I spent in Grady, like June 1st all the way down to
Grady Hospital here in Atlanta.
big ups to them because them folks them folks was dope. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was born with a heart murmur, and the heart murmur had worsened over the course of years, and then my heart
Okay.
murmur developed abscess, and then the abscess developed a bacteria, and then it was like this domino effect of just like situations that was happening, and I ended up, in Grady, ended
Yeah.
up finding out that my aortic valve had completely just like, you know, and I ended up, being the bionic man. We did a mechanical heart valve replacement, and now we kind of like back in business. It's not where it used to be, but it's here, and that's all that matters for me. That is that,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, it was a scary situation. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
It was
So
very
and you're able to. I know that, and I remember whenever you came back to Cat's Cafe, we were running a show called Duets there,
yeah.
and I remember when you came back to Cat's Cafe, and you got on and you got up on the stage. I was just blown away because I'd known that you had spent so much time kind of taking care of yourself, getting better, healing, and
Right.
and now here you are, years later, still
Yeah,
going, still going.
that night was scary. That night at Cat's Cafe was really scary for me because I hadn't been on stage, and I didn't know, where that energy was going to come from, and it turned into one of those situations where it was like, yeah, you're up here now, and it's a run, but again, though my circumstances stand tall and bold, I'm still
Yeah,
going.
you didn't miss a beat, man. It wasn't even like you had like like it wasn't even really. You were awesome. You got back up. You did Zealot. I think was that the night. Did you also perform? You performed with a group, right?
What that was you, and that was also Katie,
Katie Martin.
and we did a whole
we
we
had
did
a little bit. Was that Zealot that we did that too?
yeah, that was Zealot that
Man,
night.
I really wanted to
Mike,
do that tonight. I really enjoy doing things like that. We can't really like while I can play, he can't hear me, so we
yeah,
can't really do that. We do this little thing where it's a little bit of a groove. You kind of play a little groovy bit, and he'll just do some spoken word. It's a lot of fun. And when we're live, I can't wait to do it again. That's one of the things that I think I'm missing most about this moment in time is that
right,
we are while we're on the precipice of like getting back together. I know it's coming soon ish. I feel like that's what I miss most is the you can't harmonize when there's just that little bit of a second of a delay over the internet. It's not the same. So like
right.
you can't do these productions and these performances together right now. And that's one of those that's just
Um,
you didn't know how much you love it and how much you need it and live off of it and breathe off
yeah.
of it until it's gone.
Well, you gotta share. That's the thing about doing that. You share. That's energy sharing. You know what I'm saying? That's creative flow. That's creative juices flow. And I was honored because I was like, oh, I'm coming up with y'all. That's dope. And it was just, I don't know. It was a magical moment. That's what this guy does. He these magical moments and creates these portals. It was like back in 2009, and we were talking
Mhm.
about, making homes for ourselves as artists in the
Yeah.
city.
Yeah,
And it
man.
was kind of, weird, kind of hard. But then, look,
I know.
2009, 2020 is a
Yeah,
pretty long
buddy. I
time,
know,
bro.
still kicking. And
Yeah.
and listen, this when it comes to your writing, do you take time, do you feel like when you have an inspired day, do you tend to take time out of your day and you sit down? Like, do you do like I'm gonna grab a piece of paper and pen and I'm gonna sit down and really flesh this out? Or is it like, does it come to you in like, for me, songs can come in like hooks. So I'll have a hook in my head
Right.
that'll linger there for a while, and linger is a terrible
Wow.
word, but it does. It lingers. And and I feel like sometimes you can't get it out of your head for a while until you have to get it down on paper. I'm curious about whenever it comes to what you write, how you write it. Do you write in the heat of a moment? Do you tend to write whenever you're sad, happy? How do you what is your what's the trigger for you?
There's no specific like implication for like writing or coming up with. Sometimes it's just on random. I never know where it is. When I was a server, I always kept my notepad with me, and on my notepads, there's always notes that come from my head, and I just jot them down. I don't know if it's a song, I don't know if it's a poem, I don't know if it's an idea that blossoms into something else, but I don't know. It's just, and a lot of times though, what I will do is I'll allow myself before I start writing to kind of sit in the feeling of what I want you to feel, or the listener or the viewer to feel. I'll sit there in that seat and kind of like, okay, well, if I want to invoke, what is the proper word, what verbiage, what is the proper way to you to let you know that scorn, i.e., if you have that feeling of scorn and you want to write something, what manifested that feeling, how to get that point across to you. But here's the way I write. It's not a way to get at you to tell you that you scorn me, but it's a way to make you aware of something that you gave to me that I have to actually digest and then, cycle through that. So if I decide to take you on that journey of scorn, that's the direction I would take you on. And it wouldn't be out of anger, but again, out of realizing that that's what the feeling is that you want to get. And I think as a writer, a good writer, I feel, are writers who know how to sit in that seat that they're writing about, and then let me know what that seat is, and then make me feel like I'm in that seat.
Right.
And if it's
that's the job of a good writer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
To put you in that. Yeah. I think one of the best things you can do is kind of one of the ways I wish I could be. I think when I think about my songwriting, I don't really have time in my songwriting to organize such a novelist kind of idea in a song. I tend to write heavily in passion, in the heat of the moment, because I'm feeling something, have to get it out. A lot of times.
But I don't know that about you, because you wrote this song called like 10th and Piedmont, I think.
Piedmont and 10th. That was before 10th and Piedmont was there. That was back when Outright was there. I always have to tell people that there's a if you're not from Atlanta, there's a restaurant called 10th and Piedmont that opened where an old bookstore used to be. When that bookstore was there, I wrote a song called Piedmont and 10th. It's an intersection. It's it's bound to happen.
But here's the thing. I was at that show that night when you performed it. I don't think I performed that night. But when you perform, I don't know, that song actually, it spoke a lot to me about your writing style.
Shout out to Philip over at Outright. I just want to say.
Yeah, shout out to Outright. That was dope. But that spoke a lot to me about community, right? Yeah. And though you said that you don't sit in that seat and you write that way, there you were then writing that way, and I'm an older dude, right? So I'm sitting in this audience and I see this guy get up there with his little guitar and stuff, and I'm like, he about to do his thing, yeah. And then he started singing this song that was kind of very, for me, what it reminded me of was that song? What would you do with the same attitude? It reminded me of that kind of
a little help from my friends.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. It just invoked that kind of feeling about the neighborhood that I lived in.
Whoa, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because I had visited that place back in like maybe 98, 99. So I kind of know the staple that place holds. And then I worked across the street from there at Flying Biscuit for so long.
The
So I
famous
kind
flying
of
biscuit that was all over Sea and Ninjas recently.
so they can never get it right.
Yeah.
And my thing was, if you'd have stuck with the black man,
Yeah.
get you some black friends, honey.
Okay.
Just, but either ways, you invoked a certain feeling in me that with your writing, and that's kind of something I look for in like close friends. I got my homeboy Nova Luxurious, if he's tuned in.
Nova, yes, absolutely. Corey, you are amazing.
About that boy is his voice is some extreme shit that a lot of people aren't hip to yet.
And the
But
African Soundspace Collective, they performed on trios,
yeah,
and they are phenomenal. And their harmonies are so good.
and that's your song reminds me that there's a certain community of us that are artists. You got your Adonis Millers, you got
That's right.
your homeboy Sean,
That's
you
right.
have
That's right.
all these artists that are encompassed. You got Chrissy Mo. Chrissy Mo
That's right.
wrote this song called Excellence, right? The
Yeah.
first time we met, because Chris told me he was a rapper. Shouts out
Excellence.
to Chris Mo.
Yes.
Chrissy Mo and I were kind of like this kid and play factor in the neighborhood in Midtown. We
Oh, absolutely.
gay dudes that were writing, rapping, singing, and we were actually doing. It was legit. We did shows. GTM, Get to the Money. If any of y'all are out there listening from throwbacks,
Get
GTM,
to the money. I love that name.
entertainment. We had that zest and that zeal and that we wanted it and we went after it, and it was such a great mixture. But what caught me about Crizzy was Crizzy came to me and said he was a rapper, and I didn't believe him. I kind of laughed because I didn't consider myself a rapper at the time either. I was kind of like, yeah, right, whatever, okay, you're a rapper, great, boom. So we go to the studio to work on this track that he has called Excellence. So I'm sitting in the studio, he's in the booth, and he starts spilling this verse that he wrote. The opening of the song, he's like, I wrote a song about you, right? And I'm sitting there kind of like, can't be me, right? And so he goes into this hook, and it's just crazy. Like, I just love people who write from their life and write from their experiences, because it means
Absolutely.
a lot to do, like me anyways, that enjoys the story. I enjoy the story.
Yeah, well, and for me, I can't help it. I've kind of tried doing the well, I say I've tried. I've tried to be generic in my songwriting, the way I think is generic, where I think it's just like cookie cutter kind of,
Right.
I can't really describe it other than to say that like roses are red, violets are blue, that kind of just simple things that you've heard before in other songs. And I've tried it, and it just doesn't work for me. In order to write, I have to really have a fire in my belly that has to come out of my mouth. You know what I mean? I think the best way I've ever heard it written in any song was in that old song. Oh my God, hold on. Breathe. Wait, was that what it's called? No, it's called 3 a.m. maybe. No, 2 a.m. Okay, hold on. It's the one where the girl says, life is a hourglass glued to the table. No one can find the rewind button. So in that song, she sings about how the song is torturing her before I can't remember the lyrics off the top of my head right now, but the song is torturing her before it can come out, and that is very much the way when I have a hook in my head that I have to write. It won't let me go, and I'll think about it, and it'll just be like I'll be living life, but I'll be a zombie that's just like chained to this melody. And that's exactly what happens, and that's how I'll end up eventually in front of a piano or a guitar, where I'm just like, I've got to get this out, and I've just got to write words. I don't care if it's any good at this point. Let me just get it down, So that's how I write.
But look, here's the thing: don't marry yourself to your writing, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got that advice from a poet that I met.
Is that like a writing is rewriting reference? Is that what you mean? Like something like absolutely.
Don't marry that.
No, I agree.
That's your foundation. You need that. You need that structurally. You need that for poetry. Structurally, you need it for choreography. Structurally, you need it for songwriting. Structurally, you actually need it to build a church, a business. You got to have something structurally.
Right.
Don't where you start again. Don't sell yourself short. I posted that recently. Know you're worth something, but don't sell yourself short.
Yeah.
So with writing, I enjoy the idea that anything can come of that. Like when I wrote Autumn Flower Girl, that wasn't even a song for me. That was a song for a couple that was supposed to sing that song with each other and to each other about.
Oh, I could
Oh,
see that. Yeah, especially
it
the
was,
you are, you are, you are. Yeah.
and then it was more neo soul, not so much R&B.
Okay.
All of that stuff with that song, and that's how it got the radio. It happened to end up in the hands of R&B. I acquired this R&B track, and then decided, okay, well, and I kind of half-assed it, recording the song because it wasn't the intent of the what marrying the idea that I had written a song for these people, and because it wasn't happening, I had married that, and then I never divorced it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't up until I took it to the studio, sang the song, recorded it, put it away for about 6 months, ignored the baby.
See, I can't do that. I don't know. I have this problem where I can't do that. I've tried. I get for me it's only with the hooks. I'm just saying when it comes to if I write something
Like it's a growth, it's a step because it all is because again, God didn't create the world in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always room for that. Even with the way Zealot is
for Jello. Were you gonna say there's always room for Jello?
Sorry, yeah, there's always room for Jello.
I really wanted to I had to finish it. So no, I just feel like I see Corey Pope in the house. And I feel like when it comes to what we were just talking about. Okay, when it comes to having the courage to be able to. I feel like it's courage. It's courage to be able to stand up and write how you feel, to be able to have the courage to write how you feel whenever you've written it, and it's written and you feel it, and then you go and you sleep and you come back and you look at it and you're like, I don't feel that way anymore. That doesn't change the way that you felt at the moment. So for me, it's really difficult. Not only that, but it's also hooks. Like hooks, it's hard for me to get a hook out of my head once I've written it and once it's gone. And so like I have that issue. I've tried rewriting songs. It tends to be my songs tend to end up in a graveyard instead of getting rewritten. Like if it's a song that doesn't have like a hook that I love or something like that. So that's one of the reasons like I love to have people like you on to chat with or over to chat with because I like to.
This is the thing.
I need that to glean from.
But look, your tree bore fruit and you threw the fruit away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, no. Let me say this. It doesn't really ever hit a graveyard. There's just this graveyard in my head where it's where it's no longer a song that I play anymore. I don't know what happens.
But writing. I mean, I archive it. Just like look.
Right.
I learned because we were talking about mental therapy, health earlier.
Yep.
When my therapist, I spoke to my therapist. When I have a therapist, I always talk to someone professional. Everybody should do that. That's
absolutely.
But my therapist and I
professional is key.
Yeah, not your cousin.
Right.
That's an opinion. But either way, I talked to my therapist, and it was just one of those. Accountability is a thing, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to be accountable of the things that you do. But it's also the thing that should drive you and not make you run from your situation.
Yeah.
So I try real hard to stay on top of my game and just be like, attack everything head on, do what you're supposed to do, and there won't be no problems.
Attack everything head on. I mean, that's one of those things when it comes to when it comes to life, like we were just saying, like we said, when it comes to life, you got to. There is a noise coming, I believe, from your phone there. But I wanted to say
technology is doing stuff.
Yeah, technology's having a lot of fun with our sound here. And I'm basically I feel like we're wrapping it up anyway. I just wanted to I'm hearing this static that's kind of like really really bleeding into our show, but like I say, when it comes to song writing, that's always been kind of a problem of mine. I always do want to go back and re-edit, but it's a little difficult after you've narrowed it down.
Go back and get that and then attack it head on and let it grow like it's supposed to grow. You might have a jewel hidden. So
Well, listen, Symphonic Flow, aka the my dear friend, I am so thankful that you came on tonight and did this with me, and I'm so glad that we got to sit and chat for a little while, and we got to get to know a little bit more about your life. And it's just an honor to get to chat with you, man, about something that you're so gifted at, and to be able to kind of, I hate the terminology, but pick your brain, to be able to pick your brain a little bit and to get that, to just sort of get that, anyway, thank you so much for tonight. Can you tell everybody where they can find you?
Yo, y'all can check me out on IG at Symphony for Life. That's SYMPHONY, the number 4LYFE. And you can also check me out on YouTube, same catch. And also that Cash App, same catch, Symphony for Life. Look, y'all have a safe holiday. Be safe. Mask up.
That's right.
And we'll be catching y'all in the new year with new things.
That's right. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us, and thank you so much, Symphonic Flow, for everything. You were amazing, and thank you guys so much for joining us. This was our little show about writing, and I deeply appreciate you guys for tuning in on Wednesday nights for us. Come back next Wednesday night. Symphonic Flow. Are you going to be watching next Wednesday? You better be watching next Wednesday. Next Wednesday night is our final show of the season. Our final show of the season, and it's our holiday special, so it's going to be a really sweet show. It's on the 23rd. It's on the 23rd. So anyway, I love you, Symphonic Flow. Thank you for joining me tonight and being my co-host. And you guys all have a good night. Here's some tip links if you guys want to show some love. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Bye, everybody.